Hello and welcome to the Overnight Coder. Today we're going to be talking about the ListingPro theme. ListingPro 2.5 is just released. A lot of people are asking for tutorials, and while there are plenty of tutorials on ListingPro, the original version, I just figured now is a better time than ever to cover the ListingPro 2.5, the features, everything from start to finish. So if you're looking to start a business directory or listing website, you're in the right spot. So we're going to go over that. Let's jump right in. So as you can see, ListingPro currently, this is their preview on ThemeForest, just so you can see the different options that they have. You have Classic, Places Pro, and Restaurant Pro. And real quick, and when I say real quick, I just want to discuss these different options that you have and what the theme actually does. And then we'll go into installation, demo import, and all the theme features. So feel free to check the links in the description so you can jump around as needed. Maybe you don't need to see the details. Maybe you just need to see how to actually function around in some of those theme settings. We'll get right to it. So if you can see, the classic version looks like this. I prefer the classic version on some of the sites that I've already built for users, customers. Places Pro just kind of defines letting you create and find different places. And then Restaurant Pro, these are just layouts. So of course, you don't have to do just restaurants. They're just different types of layouts that have already been easily accessed to templates that they've set up. It says there, easy process to get you started in minutes. It has a bunch of different fields and things that you can do. Users can submit listings. There's a bunch of different ways you can monetize this website as well, which is, I think, going to be the key with most companies. We don't just want to start a site, we want to monetize or sometime get those leads. In any fashion that we can do that. There's dashboards for users and business owners, and just a bunch of other different options. They claim that a bunch of sites use this, including Yellow Pages. Some of their subdirectories are actually using this as well. Yellow Pages Serbia, and a bunch of different other sites are definitely using a solution just like this. So let's jump right in there. This is the actual classic ListingPro theme. So they let you preview the theme, and I just want to show you some of the features. This is where I'm located, so it's got GPS and IP navigation, or location. So it'll actually tell you, where you're at if you want to discover something near you. You don't have to do this. You can also, do something wide range, discover the world, or anything that you would like to do there. Lets you search around, kind of lets you pick different search fields, and you can customize these with a couple different plugins as well if needed. Obviously here they've got just some categories that you can jump right into. Scrolling down that home page, they've just got happening cities. This is just default. I don't really use the default for stuff like this, but you could. And then going into, a little bit of monetization or how to promote. Business owners sign up here, get started today. Business owners can claim their listings and make sure all their information is correct. In the long run, while I start with this, I've also found out that I've used the system to import listings. So when I first started, I didn't have any listings other than testing listings. I was able to actually go over and import more than, I want to say, about 300,000 listings that I was able to import from Yellow Pages, Yelp, and I could have done a lot more than that or a lot less than that. Maybe my niche was only restaurants in Detroit. We could have done that as well. Just got a layout, just some of the things you can do, a little bit of the testimonials. It's got a blog section, which I'm not currently using, but definitely have that there, and just a basic footer, but they have a bunch of footer options as well. Just to show you one that we're working on, which again, I coded multiple ones of these, just so you can kind of see the direction we're going. We're doing the same top with the services. We're going to go with the first call to action is business owners get more leads today. And you can add free listings, you can add paid listings, and it has a bunch of different features that you can offer with free or paid as well. So this is our first call to action, making money, and then letting people find some of the best things in town. Obviously, just a great spot. Sorry you had to see that, but just a space for something else that I wanted to add in there. And then I decided to use the same format they had on their page as well. Latest post. This is the first site that we're actually going to use latest posts on. And yes, I know you see the Shutterstock images, but those are great just trial images before you launch, just to kind of see what it's going to look like, before you go out and buy those Shutterstock or those custom images, or before you decide to search for those custom images or use those images from your clients' websites. This is the first one that use there. And then a little bit more of a in-depth a footer here. We kind of like the layout on that one as well. But let me jump back. I want to show you what some of these features look like. So if I were to go into automotive, you can kind of see that all my automotive things would be here. It's got a map. Now there's multiple layouts you can use. Here's 1 and 2, but they actually have something where you don't even have to use the map, which I've chosen not to use. I'm worldwide, so just having pings all around the world didn't make sense to me, and just the niches that we've ran. But just so you can see, they also offer the ability. I know I talked about monetization, but here's an ad, which you can set users to either pay for an ad, or if you have your own companies, you can set yours to ad, which show above the rest. Rating systems, categories, obviously excerpts. Let's take look at one of these. And again, we're just going over how the layout feels, what it does, how much you can search. Here's one of the listing pages, multiple pictures up top. It's got a bunch of information. We even have the book now, so you can actually book. It goes on into normally a map here when your Google App I is corrected. They've also started using Open Maps, so if you didn't want to use Google Maps, I think Google Maps gives you a $300 credit a month, and so far on my listing pages, we're not really going over that $300 credit a month, so it's always free. But now they've implemented Open Maps, which is a freer service or a free service that you can use. Website contact information. You don't have to have all this, but you can have all this. And this just gives you an idea of things that you can do within ListingPro. Add a listing. Here's their payment plan page. You can set this up to whatever you like. Different options and features that you can either allow, hide. You don't have to have a big box like this. I think on ours we have like 4. And then everything plus free, but you've got the rest here, so it kind of gives you a good look and feel of the different types of plans you can have. You can also add ads. You can add ads to the listing pages, category pages, things like that. If you're looking just to monetize that way, TripAdvisor, things like that. So that kind of works too. Pretty extensive, but let's go more into some of those features. So here we're going to start with the install. I've just got a subdomain here, so just a blank site. I'm going to go in and I have a couple tutorials on installing WordPress. If you want to see how to do it manually or automatically, I'm just going to go over the automatic way, make it real quick and easy so we can get WordPress installed and start with importing the theme. So I'm not really going to cover this too much in depth, just going to kind of show you how I'm using one of the managers to create a WordPress site. We'll double check that the WordPress site works, and then we'll get into the theme installation. From the theme installation, we'll go over demo content and importing that demo content. Nice. My details displayed right on screen. I love it. We're going to paste these off screen. Don't worry, I'll change those. So no need to try to hack my site. That's not going to exist. We're going to double check that link, make sure WordPress is installed. We're going to go over to the dashboard, wp-admin, and log in. Perfect. I guess we'll update this now that we're here. We might as well. Perfect. Appearance themes. I'm going to try this automatically depending on the server that I'm using. It might work. Upload theme. I've already downloaded the zip file from ThemeForest, which we are going to see here. That doesn't work, we'll do it manually. And I've got tutorials that cover this as well, not just uploading WordPress or getting WordPress onto your server. I also cover, in one of my videos, covering how to install a theme automatically or manually. Depending on your theme server, sometimes you might have an issue. It looks like this one is fine. We're also going to go back to themes, add new. We're also going to add the child theme. So if I make any changes, we'll make those to the child theme. Not sure that I'm going to make any changes in this video, but And just so you can see that we are doing things right, we'll install that child theme. Now normally this is where I activate the child theme. And I would end up deleting the other themes because I don't need them. I need the actual ListingPro theme, I need the child theme, but all those 2019 themes I would actually get rid of. Just for time's sake, I popped up with the easy setup. I'm just gonna click start. Okay, so this is a new thing. They used to only offer WP Bakery support, but now they offer Elementor support. And because I like Elementor much more than I like WP Bakery, I'm gonna go with Elementor. And I haven't done this before, but we're gonna double check it works. So I'll click next from here. If you like WP Bakery, by all means, go with that. This is asking me some of the plugins that I want to install. These are actually necessary. So it's got those. Yes, I'm ready. Gonna go down adding your plugins that you're gonna need. So again, you don't need any additional plugins if you don't want. There are a few that I would recommend, like caching and things of that nature. I actually use WP Redirect just to redirect from some links to other links, some things I wanted to have fun with. But again, in the base install and to do everything that you need, you really don't need any extra plugins. So if you're a beginner, don't get too scared. I'm just clicking buttons. I make it super easy for you. I like the classic view. We already went over that. I could preview it if I want, but it looks like it's selected, so I'm just going to hit accept. And then we go into the content. You want to start this site with dummy content. I try to skip this step if you were trying to design it from scratch. That's going to be more from existing WordPress and Elementor users or WP Bakery users that are really comfortable with just designing this stuff. But with that being said, a lot of this stuff is going to be drag and drop. So you can always drag and drop. But there were some things that just didn't function right when I did skip this step and just started. I didn't know the shortcodes. I didn't know this. I didn't know that. So for now, we're just going to import content, make it super easy. And keep in mind before where my site looked like this. We've uploaded WordPress. It's going to look a lot differently. My awesome slow server. It's just a buddy server. We're actually in the process of moving over to SiteGround. Free plug. My purchase code. So I'm going to take this off screen just so nobody can see my purchase code. I don't think they black this out. So give me just a second. Copy that search code. We're going to paste this on a different screen. It's also got instance mode. I'm going to select it to test site and click activate. Congratulations, your site is now active. Sorry about that. So from here, let's just check out what else it had. It had the dashboard. This is a new feature. This wasn't on there before. Kind of just gives you an overall what's going on from the admin side. Some add-ons that they not only are required, but some that you can get for free. I believe the appointments and the ListingPro lead form are new ones, which you can always just click on and install. But this video to start, I'm not going to go over that. The visualizer just allows you to enable some other options as well. We're going to leave those alone. Just take a look at the website and see what it's done. I'm going to refresh this. Perfect. So this is almost exactly like the demo. As I look down, I see a couple categories look like they're blue, light blue, so they're not showing up. I probably fix that, make sure those are white. But you can see they show up when they're on gray. So a couple issues here, but we'll fix those. And there you have it. Super easy. Let's see what the add listing page does just for kicks. Demo page already sets up some listings. I like it. So there you go, out of the box, ready to go. Now let's talk about a couple of the features. So as we go back here, we're going to see some new things are added to WordPress. If you're not familiar with WordPress, I can tell you that ListingPro CC, matter of fact, I'm going to click on dashboard so you can see ListingPro CC was added. All this was added. Elementor templates goes to Elementor, and those would have been added as well. Theme options at the very bottom has a bunch of new theme options that we can play around in as well. So ListingPro CC, I almost want to say this wasn't here before. Maybe it was ListingPro because they've added the submit form and multi-rating. But let's take a look. Listings, where all our listings, housings will be. Pricing plans are the pricing plans that you just seen that you can set up. Ads, we don't have any ads right now, but we can definitely set these up as well. So let's take a look at some of these features so we can kind of get a good feel. Now, if you're new to WordPress, this video isn't really dedicated to people that are new to WordPress, but I already noticed that it says My WordPress Site and it says just something after that. So right here at the very top, I just want to change that. I want to go into settings, and then under settings, you can go through all these general settings, and I'll show you a couple that are really important with new sites. Like this one, bam, I don't want that there. I want, my site is called View Lock, so let's just call it View Lock. And of course this one's not, so let's call it, Overnight Coder. Tagline, free tutorial with a lowercase u. You can go through the basics, my email, some of my time changes, and just click save. Another one I like to change is, we're looking through all of them, just kind of making sure we're there, but reading, static pages showing homepage. If I had a post or a blog page, I would set that to the blog page, which we do. So we're going to save that change as well. How many pages or blogs do we want to show on that page? 10. Discussion I really don't use as much. Permalinks I definitely use. So with permalinks, I want to go into permalinks. I like my stuff not to look like this. I like it more to have the name in the title. So I'm going to switch over to post name and click save. ListingPro Wizard. Okay, I didn't update, so we're not going to use that. That's obviously a new feature that I was just checking out. But now if I look at my website, remember that title was at the top. I just want to get rid of that, right? So now it says Overnight Coder, free tutorials, and has the information I need. Also, when I click on a post, my post, if you look at the URL, is going to be a nice URL. So it's not, listing P equals 123, some query. So I kind of like that, but if you don't like it, you can go with something else. More importantly, the way I start with these themes is I usually just jump right into the dashboard, how I want things to look. So do I like the header? The header's good. I'd rather have a menu here, and we'll keep that in mind. So, I like a menu here kind of offering some different options, not just, if I go to this in incognito, this won't be my username. That'll be like a sign-in button. So I want to show you that as well. If we're in incognito, I'm going to open up a page so we're not logged in. You can see the sign-in button here. How does the sign-in button work? Bam. You can also use Nextend Social Login, which will allow you to log in with like Facebook, Instagram, or Google, or things like that. Not Instagram, sorry. But we'll be adding those as well in a later date. So just so you can see, not a full menu, but it's kind of got, sign in and add listing page. Alright, I like the kind of way this looks. As you've seen on my demo site, I don't like the happening cities just with what I'm using. I don't want people to look at different cities, just the way I'm using this. Now, if I was doing like a Detroit-based only, listing, well, maybe these would be, places inside Detroit, whether it was cities, whether it was regions, whether it was states in a general area. You can do whatever you want. I'm not too really keen on this, so in the future we're going to remove that. But as you guessed, this is the home page. So to remove these features, you would actually edit the home page, except for the banner at the top. The banner at the top, the menu, that's all going to be done in theme settings. So let's jump right in and start changing some code. Overnight Coder. I'm going to go down to theme options, and I think I just want to work from top to bottom. So taking a look at some of these options, just so you can see what's going on, we're going to wait for this page to load, and it immediately pulls up the General tab. Well, my primary color. Well, as I can see around here, my primary color is that light blue. I am going to go off the wall and pick red. I just select. You can also put in a code. You can also pick from the millions of colors that you can possibly pick, or predefined colors, and I'm going to go with that. A secondary color. Do you want a secondary color? Do you want to use it? Do you know where it's used at? What I like to do is, if I don't know where color is used at, I'll just grab a bright color. So this is the opacity. I'm going to go all the way up on the opacity and then just pick like a pink, that way. And I'm just giving you future reference. So if you do something like this, you're going to be able to see where that second color is used. Because you're not really going to use, well, maybe you will, but in most cases, I'm not using pink on most websites. So I would use that and just kind of see what I want. But for now, we're just going to go with like a darker black. Maybe that's fine. You can obviously read these, and they have a lot of key tips. I want to go over down a few of these, like page titles are H1. If you didn't want to enable page titles as H1, you can turn that off. Instant sign up username field. A lot of times I'm using these off because my site is secure normally. Right now you're not seeing a secure site, but I really don't like them to fill out passwords here. I like them to be able to go into their email, create the account, and be able to do it there. Currency symbol. If you're in a different, currency bracket, you can put your currency there. Just keep in mind, this is a few of the examples. Custom CSS. I use this a lot. This is where most of my CSS goes. I know I could do this somewhere else, but I want everything inside the theme, and this will be where my custom CSS goes. Now, a lot of you guys might not be using custom CSS if you're not a developer, but again, I just figured I'd cover this. Custom JavaScript. Auto location for banner. You can take that auto location off, but more importantly, I want you to read through these. I'm not going to read them for you, but you can set your different types of auto location. The key things are remembered here that this one, you have to have a pop-up. It's displayed to the visitor, and if they decide to agree to the pop-up, then you can display their location. It's kind of like Facebook saying, hey, can we use this? And they give you a pop-up. No, you can't use that. And then unfortunately, GPS is not going to work. This one, user consent is not required in the browser, so no pop-up is displayed. So I tend to use this a little bit more, just because I'm already giving them a pop-up for allowing notifications and stuff. So I'm tending not to use the GPS base. I'm using more the GeoIP or IP-API. Remember, anytime you make changes, just click the Save Changes, not the Reset section or Reset All, which will reset all your connections. So I am going to save because I've got a red in there, and we'll go back and see what it looks like in a sec. But just to kind of cover a little bit of the rest, User Dashboard. A user dashboard covers everything in their user dashboard. So let's talk about that. If I go to the dashboard, I'm logged in. I click Dashboard from the top, as you've seen. I've got the custom red color that I picked. And this is everything in the user dashboard right now. I've got dashboard, I've got announcements. So if I were to add a listing and I have my listing up, if there's any announcements that I want to add, or events that I want to add, or coupons or menus that I want to add, all I would have to do is come in here and add new. And of course, these will all go by one, and we might cover these at a later date, but they're pretty descriptive. If you have an event, select event. If you have coupons, create coupons, and it's all, select the listing. These will be all the listings that I currently have, which obviously as the admin, I have all the listings because nobody's imported any listings. This gives you a perfect explanation. 46% off, one large specialty pizza. Your coupon code and how much it's worth. Either it's dollar percentage or it's a percentage percent. Coupon start dates and end times. Those are key. If you don't want to offer them all year long, you just have a one-day sale. That's great. Click here, and again, these will show on your listing. So the listing that you selected will have a coupon date. If you wanted to feature an image, here you go. More importantly, listings. Jumping down, these are all my listings. I can do a bunch of different things with these listings once I add one listing. It's not that you'll have multiple listings, but as the admin, I tend to. Maybe a business has one or two listings that they want to add. And the things that you can do are edit, remove, or change the plan. Obviously, if you change the pricing plan, you may have to pay more depending on if that pricing plan was more or less. And it'll go all into that with more screens. But as you can see here, I can edit or remove the listings are key. Inboxes, if I get messages, people can send me messages. Invoices, I can send out invoices to different customers. Ad campaigns, currently I don't think we have it set up, but we can add new ads, which also will require payment. Reviews, this is all the reviews I've gotten on my listings, which I think they actually add reviews. Maybe they don't. Perfect, so no reviews. Let's go back to, I want to get out of here. We can see the main page. But more importantly, if I didn't want some of those features, I wanted to remove the dashboard. I wanted to remove the listings. I want to remove the reviews and the ad campaign and packages and invoices. I can choose to do that. So if you don't want to use that feature, I recommend definitely turning it off. Here's a couple of other ones that will allow you to kind of go through your profile, things like that. If you want to turn those off, by all means. These are fine standard. Like if you just leave them the way they are, you'll be fine. You won't have packages. They can still add packages if they fall into that plan, but as of now, I normally am leaving all this alone until I know exactly what I want, and then I'll just remove it from there. Typography. Typography is what you want the base of your text to look like. So the body font is currently Quicksand. The style and weight, or font weight and style. Subsets, font size, line height. These are things you could try out. If you're not sure, switch them up. I tend to use things like Lato. Also, I use Poppins a lot. I use just the standard. If you just erase everything, Arial Black, just basic Impact. I really like Impact. But test them out. Look where they are. Body font, your navigation styles, heading 1 styles. Matter of fact, you can switch your overall color so you don't have to try to nitpick with CSS or anything. If you want all your H1 styles to be pink, you can switch those to pink. Matter of fact, let's do purple. And let's do green. And it goes all the way down. Paragraph and small elements. Let's just click save so we can see some of these as I go back over to the page. Hopefully we can see some of these. There you go. Green, 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 green. Perfect. And I don't see any purple all for it, but again, we could just change paragraph text or anything else. So just get kind of comfortable. You want to I've learned this a long time ago with web design. You want to kind of get a color scheme. I like to look at color palettes on the internet, find out what I like, and then use those same few colors, whether it's 2, 3, 4 colors, and just use them all the time. Even something like this. This isn't black. This is like a gray. And if my color scheme didn't really include a gray, maybe it works. But, for the most part, I try to use that same, like I would switch this to like, a light green, or in my case, black, red, gray, darker gray, and that would be like my color scheme of 3. Same thing here. There's my dark gray, but the blue, I don't like that, so it switches over to red. And we'll see how to do that soon, but stick to a color scheme that matches. If I do green, pink, purple, red, things, as you can already see, this is starting to look, it's not that bad, but if I start putting more colors in here, this is going to look pretty sloppy. I'm really not digging the green there. Sorry. Header. Alright, so this is the header layout. A bunch of different header layout styles. As you see now, this is the one that I have selected, which is just the one with the dark blue box around it. It looks pretty basic, and this is exactly what I had up there. If I wanted to do an image in the background, this would be the one I use. What about if I wanted to use the top bar? I'd probably use this one. And as I select things here, things are changing down here. So let's just save that and see what that looks like. I'm going to refresh the page, and now this top bar is, oh, it's not in the way now. Perfect. So now you can add a top bar. Notice that my profile stuff jumped up here. I can add a top bar menu. I can do things like that. And just kind of want to give you the idea that you can pick pretty much, the style that you wanted. Let's go with this. It was almost similar to what I had, just a little bit different, and you can't really see those changes. Big change is the menu moved over to the right, and now I have a search bar on the left, which is what you're seeing, which the search is disabled. So menu will be on the right here, not in the center, which I'm down with that. I'm down with that. Here's the rest of the stuff that you've got to change, and if you're looking at it, like I said, so watch this. So if I have something with a top bar is enabled, offer on. Top bar background color, top bar color of the inner pages, so you can kind of switch the top bar color on other pages other than the home page. And these switch, so always double check that when you've added something, you're coming back and making sure that you have the right selections below that. So fixed header, do I want a fixed header? Fixed header is when the header stays at the top. Never moves, never scrolls off page. Yes, I want that, sure. Yes, I want that. Do I want a transparent background? Maybe. Header color background for inner pages. Let's go with that same red that I used because I want a red background on all of them. The text on the side of it. And more importantly, header is where you're going to find your logo options. So a lot of people have asked me, how do I do a logo? How do I make it the right size? And when you upload a logo, Just gonna go to media library. No, it doesn't have any in here. I guess we're not. When you upload a logo, it'll be a specific size. Now you can always fix that by editing the image before you put it in. But again, this is up to you. If you have any problems with this, you could also use CSS, but I really recommend just pulling it out. My Mac does this automatically inside the image editor. You don't need any extra plugins or any applications. I tend to use Photoshop a lot, so because I have multiple clients, I end up using Photoshop for most of these, which just makes things a little bit more easier for me. But again, you don't need Photoshop. You can always crop and do your thing there. Your favorite icon. Matter of fact, not just the home page logo, but what about your logo for inner pages? That's every other page. We're going to refresh this. So all my my changes were saved. But what about the other pages? So there's the logo for home page. But now that I've got this background, do I want a different logo for the inner pages? And you can also select those as well. So if you wanted a different logo or maybe just wanted an icon for those pages, you can do that. I haven't saved this. That's why my background page is not red. Favorite icon. Favorite icon, if you're not already familiar, is this little icon up here where the little head is, or this icon here. It's going to be your favorite icon. And then choose login pop-up style. So that login that I originally showed you, you can either have it pop up like this or with just the sign in, or you can have it pop up with the sign in and sign up button. Before on this first one, it's not a member sign up is down here. So you've got two different styles that you can choose from. And we're going to stick with the first one. Click save. We'll see some of those changes in a second. Banner is really important. This is your top banner. They have multiple styles. Why are these images not coming in perfect? Interesting. They have multiple. This one is, but these two are not. Interesting. I didn't remember seeing that before. So they have a bunch of different styles. Whether you just wanted something small, simple like this, whether you wanted this with categories below, and I know that might be a little blurry. It is on my screen as well. This is the one we currently have. This is one with the search bar in the middle, icons on the bottom, search bar on the bottom, icons below, everything in the middle, things like that. I kind of like this. I just want to take a look. And as I selected this, notice that some of this stuff down here changed. Well, let's click save and just see what kind of changes we made. And there you go. So explore what, where. I mean, I kind of like this. I've never used this style before, and I kind of feel like this is overflowing right now. So I'll just have to keep that in mind, that I probably only want 3 or 4 shorter titles because I don't like the way that's overflowing. But perfect. I do like the way this top looks. Let's just make sure that our inner pages have switched to red as well, as I promised. And we're going back to the home page to go back over some theme options. How high did you want that banner? So that banner on the high, right now they say it's 720 pixels. You can fix that. You can make it wider. You can make it shorter. You can switch the opacity of the banner. Maybe you want it a little bit lighter if possible. The home page banner image is this one here. I like that image. It just kind of covers everything, but you can always switch that as well. Matter of fact, you can also set it to a specific post ID, which will show here. So let me show you, I believe this one has it, courtesy listing. Yeah, so courtesy listing is on. It's referring to post 866. And normally, if you have a post or a listing that is ID 866, it'll show that image and give them credit for your listing. So if somebody has a really cool image, I can use it and I'll put their listing ID. Which again, let me just show you listings, open a new tab. Listing ID, I want you to look, I don't want to open one, but look down here. Way at the bottom, you're going to see listing IDs down here. That's the easiest way. It's going to pop up a link. Watch this. Post number 31, post number 30, post 25, post 32. So those will be my listing IDs, 32 if I wanted to use it, and it'll use whatever featured images used there. A really cool feature. I kind of like using that as long as they have like a full width banner. Some pictures are not going to work as your banner, so maybe having it static makes it easier for you. Perfect. We've got a couple more fields here. Just allows you to select some categories that are shown in each of the search drop box. We're not going to use this for now. I'm kind of happy with what it's doing there. Location default text. So before, remember when we had that? This one doesn't have it. I love it. So before, when we had that top search bar, it actually had some things like this. Let's uncover the best places. Number one, matter of fact, this one is used. Number 1 best rated. Let's change that to number 2 best rated restaurant. Not that you would ever be number 2. Explore by your city, just looking around, over 10,000. A lot of times with your banner and your banner options, these go with the banner options. Now the banner that I'm using doesn't have some of these options. So just keep that in mind. If I hit save, we will see that number 1 best rated. Let's just take a look. Refresh. Number 2 best rated. And again, this hangs off a little bit further than I like. So I'd probably shorten that down or lengthen it to go on 2 lines. That actually doesn't look bad with 2 lines, but this one does. So I'd probably switch that around just so you can see. There's my drop down of stuff that I had. Where? San Jose. And of course, you can find your area just by clicking on the lodge. I'm in Rockledge. I like it. Perfect. So just covering a little bit more of those features. That's just some of the theme settings that'll help you get started from top to bottom. We've covered the header. We've covered the banner. Now it's time to discuss some of those map options. So Google Map, as of now, if you ever have, let me just show you what one looks like. You're going to see this issue, and there's nothing wrong with this site. Oh, this uses, I like it. That used something completely different. Looks like their demo is using Open Maps. And I haven't really used it, but I'm sure we'll find it in the theme settings to switch it. So a lot of times when you see a Google site, you won't see, it'll say Google Map error, something based like that. Please do this if you own the site. You know, it's pretty annoying, but that just means that your Google Map settings, oh, it is set to OpenStreet. I love it. Your Google Map settings aren't right. So it tells you, hey, this is how you can find it. Go to your developer account. I'm not going to cover that in this tutorial, but if you need help, by all means, just Google, you know, how do I get a Maps app key and do it. The default is this, but they're using OpenStreetMap, which was their secondary free alternative. So I'm really digging this, so you don't have to, you know, always go through the Google App and especially if you're not a coder, this works out of the box. So I really like the fact that they've set that on default, and that's why we're seeing no real map issues. But this one doesn't have a map, so it's not showing there. It's perfect. Blog. Not going to talk too much about the blog, but the blog view, they're just going to give you some different views. You've got a grid view or a list view. Grid view is when, I think I can show you, even if they don't have it. Not sure what page, I think we said /blog is the default. This is a grid view. A grid view is when you take them and do blocks and make grids, right? So they've got the grids. This one obviously doesn't have a picture. A list view, and they have 2 styles, so check out both. Just make sure you like one or the other. I'm going to save and just make sure that's saved. We'll take a look at it. Here's your list view. So if you're going to add a blog or latest news or what's happening section, just keep in mind you do have the functionality to kind of switch that up. And this is just for your blog pages. All right, blog templates. Do you want a right sidebar? Do you want it full width? Do you want a left sidebar? Blog details. Do you want them on the right sidebar? Yada, yada. Blog sidebar style. Do you want blog sidebar style 2 or 1? And again, I just recommend testing these. I'm not going to go over these with you. You would test the features and the functionality of those and pick which ones you like. Listings, this is where it gets more in depth about your listings, and I'll go over a little bit more because they've got a bunch of listing details in here. So mobile view is definitely app view. They've created a really good app view and app view 2 that you can kind of check out when you're looking on your mobile phone. I prefer those over just like your regular standard WordPress responsive view. So we're going to leave the app view, but again, I would honestly just test all 3 and see what you like most. Jumping down a little bit more, we're just in the general tab. And a lot of times I'm leaving these the way they are. You know, the listings order by, I guess that's important if you wanted to rearrange your listings, or your default listings. So what are they arranged by? Well, they're arranged by date, but you can also do random, most viewed, most reviewed, highest rated, and claim. Pretty fully functional here. your listings order. Well, normally that's descending, you know, the ones you did last, or the highest rated goes down to the lowest, but you can also switch that to ascending. Add listings only by logged in users, your time format. Contact support page. This is always good to set up. So whether your support page is at /contact, or you can put in the full link, just figure out what pages you have. I'm going to open that up. Here's my contact page. I'm not sure if I'm going to like it, but let's just view it first. Looks like it's going to have a map on the left, not of my location, and then some information on the right. If you like that, we'll take the link. We'll go back into, and keep in mind, you can also edit the contact page, and we'll go into editing pages as well. But from there, I do like that page. While I could do just /contact, I'm just going to add the full link so there's no confusion. How many listings per page? I know we said how many blog items per page earlier under settings, but how many listings? The upload featured image. If they don't add a featured image, you want to add one for them, something custom, like with maybe your logo on a red background, something like that. If they just add gallery images, did you want to add a featured image from that gallery image? And you can always do that. Again, not going to go down all these. You can read them, but I am going to show you the more important ones. So listing detail, pretty important for me is what goes on that listing page, and how I want it to look. So let's just use style 1. Let's say, you know, again, test them all, but let's view the Arizona Luxury Art Club. This is what the listing page looks like. Hey, there's a purple. We were looking for that. So this is what the listing page looks like. But if I wanted to switch that, I'm going to close down some of these pages. And I wanted to go to listing 2 or listing 3 and listing 4 and see what those look like, I can do that as well. Now, let's just talk about listing detail page 1. So this is what it looks like. Oh, oops, that's a blog. Let's close that. Let's go to my personal page. Now, this is what it looks like. And as you see, there's a video here. There's a description here. There's map on the right. There's questions and answers. Rate and write us a review. Well, if the user has submitted those, so look at this. YouTube video on the top, details, and then if the user, facts, has entered one of these, it'll show up in this form. If you didn't like this or wanted to remove them, so review form I don't use, I'm going to put that over here. Facts, I want it at the top in front of the YouTube video. I can set that up there. And then your sidebar is here. It's already got some pre-select things that you can pick. So maybe you didn't want their times in the sidebar, or maybe you didn't want the lead form in the sidebar. And as you look back, instead of having that lead form, let's save the page. Refresh. Now our facts should be at the top, which they are, and the lead form is currently gone. You know, so always let yourself customize that page with what you want. Now, of course, if they didn't add a fact, just because you have facts and video on the page, if the company didn't add the facts and the video, well, by all means, it's still not going to show up on the page. But just keep that in mind. Some of these options are just going to go into some more stuff. If you offer deals, do you want your deals looking like this, or do you want your deals looking like this? And that's only if you allow those deals to be shown on the page. So additional details. We're not going to save any changes here. Listing archive view. So this is really important to me when I'm going down how I want my page to look, because there was so many options. Right now we're set with the map like this, and then our details. I'm not really a big fan of like half the screen is the map. So I might do something like this. I might do something like this where it's just a small map. A search box up top, stuff like that. But for now, maybe I just go with something like this, which is a small map in the corner or on the top, and then they use the sidebar on the right. Let's go back and just take a look at that. I want you to see these. Nope, way too crazy for me. Is that the right page? Listing page layout. That definitely switched things up. I need more listings, that's why. No worries. But you can obviously get a feel for these as you want. Let me just go back. I want to save that so you can see this one. Listing grid list. How do you want your grid to look? So I think on the home page we had a, let me just see. We'll find a grid list for us. And again, always just testing these. Chicago has 2 listings. New York has 2. Washington has 3. Let's use Washington. This is my grid list. This did switch to the one that you've seen. There's no map on this one. I'm kind of digging that. So I picked this one here. It's got a bunch of options in the middle that you can sort, switch up, pick categories by. But if they use this search bar, these aren't all going to show up. These are just for that specific city that we picked on right from the home page. Maybe you like it better like this without the blocks. Maybe you like it more defined like this. Maybe you want call buttons and show map buttons on them. I know these are a little bit blurry. Maybe you want your listing page like this. There's going to be reasons that you want different things. So let me save. We're just going to switch it to this and see what that. So instead of this, what you'll have is, ta-da! And this one I might actually use a sidebar because this is kind of, so I'd go back and switch the template to something that did have a sidebar, maybe this one or this one, and then just fill out that sidebar, which can later be done as well. Listings submit and edit. When they're submitting listings, this is what you want them to see. So when you go and add a listing as a client or as a visitor, we're not going to pay for a listing today, so we're just going to pick the free listing, which actually includes everything the rest do, which is probably a mistake. But if I click continue here, it's going to take me to the submit a listing page. I'm currently already signed in, but if I wanted to sign out, see what that looked like, you can do that as well. Now these are predefined images, so you can switch these. It's got listing titles and examples. It's got cities. It's got things that you can add, things that you can't add, price ranges, social media. And you can always, when you're done, save and preview this listing. And then from that preview, you'll actually hit submit. But from the save and preview, you kind of get a feel of what your listing is going to look like as a visitor or as a business owner. So really cool there. But these are the theme options. Now, these are the things you can choose. You can limit sizes. You can switch that image that you've seen. You can turn the second image off. Whole bunch of fields. Quick tips, you can turn that off. Remember all the titles, listing titles, city, you can change those if you want to put, maybe it's not a city, maybe it's a state, maybe it's a region. And these are just the, again, phone number, website, add business hours. You can switch all the text on that. Now, what is it? Translocate? I forget the plugin that they recommend, but there's a, I'll have to go back and look. I think it's right on their demo page. One of the translate plugins that they recommend you use. And if you couldn't change the text, which right now we haven't ran into any text that we can't change, but they provide wonderful tutorial on how you can use that as well. Business videos, submitting listings, yada yada. Location. Basic information here, you can read that. Reviews, you want them on or off? You want them instant sign up? So just take a look at all these. I'm not going to go through these. We can obviously read. These are pretty self-explanatory. Leads form, listing claim, when you want them to claim a listing or not, and then what things are looking like when they do. Pretty easy. Listing nearby. You can set this if you want nearby listings. So when they search something, do other listings pop up? Or right now it's 100 kilometers. I don't use kilometers here, and then I personally don't use kilometers. So I would switch that over to miles, and I probably wouldn't do a 100-mile radius. I'd probably do a 10-mile radius because nobody's going to want to drive 100 miles to go to a different restaurant. I mean, that's. I don't know about you, but I'm not driving 100 miles if I just want Italian food. But that's me. Number of nearby listings, you can also switch that. Google AdSense, pretty cool. This is one on the listing detail page, one on the listing archive page. Let's go. I think I did some demos real quick on ViewLock so you can see. Here's one. So this is one of the ads there. And then on a listing page, I have another one. I actually think I might have removed one. Nope, there it is. So those are just my two types of ads. I actually just did full width ads so you can see, but if you use Google Ads responsive, those will actually fill in. Another one people use are TripAdvisor, things like that. Maybe if you're recommending a personal business, you can put in some links there. I use static images. While they recommend Google, Google AdSense, you can also just paste in some media, with a link. You can pretty much add whatever you want. But yeah, Super easy there. Author archive, I'm not currently using this except for like just layout stuff. So my listings, I want it to look like I want, but like the about me, I'm not really using this. I don't want to show anybody the author stuff. Business listings is something different, but just for author stuff, I'm not currently using that. As you can see, you can just disable, enable, and set things there. But again, not my personal preference to have each individual person as an author. Pricing plans. Pricing plan is cool. This is just the option for the pricing plans. So if you want some of these things enabled, so assign plan to expired listings, paid listing claim. If you don't have this, yes, you're not going to be able to enable all the features for your paid listing claim. So some of these things, when you turn them off, it disables some other features in here. But as of now, we're just going to keep those on what they are. Sorry, advanced filter. I'm not using this as much, but I guess you could. That's just my personal preference. I didn't find any need for this yet. Search filters, yeah, same thing. You can choose what you want. Just pre-populate things. This is more when you're going in depth. Payment. Big thing for me is I want to monetize this. So monetizing it. First, are you submitting listings? Are your submitted listings, do they require approval? Can somebody just submit a listing and it doesn't need your approval? Yes or no? I tend to keep it yes. Paid submissions, yes. If you don't have paid submissions, you don't have pricing plans. Recurring payments. Will it make a recurring payment? Well, this is one of my favorites because after the end of the year or the month, a lot of people forget that's even on. So I might be getting paid 2 or 3 years before they realize that, hey, whoa, I didn't want to pay for that. I know that it's not transparent, but people are doing recurring payments all the time. And yeah, I appreciate that. Do I want to notify them before it expires? Probably not. 0. I'm just kidding. Obviously, all you guys are going to want to set, hey, this is about to expire. Let them get an email. Here's some currency options. Where do they go after they successfully, go to the thank you page? They go to the edit listing page. Are you using coupons? Yes or no? Save. If you set up payments and you're allowing payments, you need to set up your payments. So PayPal, just got some basic stuff. Remember to take it off sandbox and go to live mode when you're not testing. But PayPal username, API, it'll tell you how to get it all right here. It's super easy. There's a bunch of YouTube tutorials. And then receiving an email at the very bottom. Stripe, same thing. Direct payment, wire transfers. If you're using something like this, by all means, it's secure. They only give out, the information that you need to send money. Again, I've never really used direct payment and wire payments. I'm always using PayPal, Stripe. I used to use 2Checkout back in the day, but I didn't use it for this site. So I don't have a 2Checkout account. I'm not paying $100. PayPal and Stripe are free. Tax. Do I want to charge tax? And what's the percentage? Or do I have to charge tax? And what's the percentage? Sorry. Find out for your state, for what you're doing, what you need if you need to be charging tax, just to keep it legal. Email management, we're not going to cover too long. Just requires, your emails, your email, who's it from, and then yes, because you want to customize your emails, right? I mean, if you're just happy with what this is saying, and this is using, look, the short codes for registration, it's using short codes. So when it says, hi there, welcome to website URL, that'll input whatever your website URL is. So don't be confused by this. People that are new to this, it's going to say, create@overnighter.com or create.overnight. So you should be good there, but if you just wanted to type it in, you could get rid of that as well. For things like, username is this, your login is this, you won't be able to do that. So just keep that in mind. This is how you customize your emails, and it's got a bunch of different options. And it'll also tell you, what that email is for. This is when a new listing is submitted. It says your listing has been submitted and goes through all these. Now I know this looks like special code. If you come over to visual, it looks like it has an image on top. And then this is kind of what it looks like. And all I did there was I clicked on visual, so you can see the visual details, not the text or the code details, right? That look foreign to some people, I'm sure. Same thing here. That is interesting. I just froze my page. Oh, no, I didn't. Just me. So yes, do we want to change emails? Yes. Privacy options. If you have a privacy page, which I think they give you a privacy page that you can edit. Again, editing pages is here. We're not going to go over WordPress, how to edit pages and stuff. I'll be honest with you, I have a bunch of tutorials, some that go over just editing pages. I do want to edit a home page and kind of go over some of those Elementor options, but I'll go into this kind of maybe in a secondary video because we're getting pretty long here. But just kind of going over some of these theme options that you can see. Listing submission, privacy policy stuff, invoice, the logo for the company invoice. When you're invoicing people for future things, do you want ListingPro on there? Probably not. You want your own. Ads, this is for the type of ads that you're going to be doing. So this is the ad that shows up before everybody else. You can set up ads for pay-per-day. You can set up pay-per-click. Pay-per-day is like, do you want to set it for 30 days? Do you want to set it for a year? Do you want to set it for things like that? And then not only that, I recommend testing all this because this is going to be when they go to create, they have a listing, they go to create an ad in the dashboard. This is where this is going to pop up. It's going to pop up with things like create your ad in 3 simple steps, daily updates. It won't be a bigger problem to find one. But first you want to see what that's looking like. I don't even know if all I probably didn't set up. Yeah, I did. Here we go. So 10, 50, 20 tells me exactly what's going on. The payment methods that I want to pay with because I've set yes on all of them. So I'm taking all these. If I didn't have, just like you've seen, if I only had PayPal, they can only pay with PayPal. Accept and agree. I want to show you something 10, 50, and 20. Again, we can set these 10, 20, and 50. So you can set all these ads. Did you want it to be in the side listing? Did you want it to be in the top of the search ads? Things like that. So setting these could all be $10, but it's a different type of ad. If you look at the dashboard, Spotlight ad shows them. This is just the Spotlight right under the banner right here. Top of the search, obviously that's just easy explainable. It's going to be at the top of the search. When somebody searches for carpet cleaners, you're going to come up at the top of the search as long as it's following those guidelines. Sidebar, do you want it in the sidebar of every listing page possible or every listing archive? If you have a sidebar that includes that, well then of course it'll be right there. Get on top of it. Here's your stuff that we're talking about, and then your information here. All stuff you can change right here. Form reCAPTCHA. Yes, you can use reCAPTCHA if you're having any spam issues. URL config. Did you want to change any of these things? So let's just take a look real quick. ListingPro. I want to go to this one. Look at this. It's got the word listing in here. And if I didn't want the word listing in there, I could definitely change the word listing. And these are some of the slugs that you would change. Makes sense? Contact page. What do we have on that contact page that I showed you? Well, this is the information you had on the contact page I showed you. Form. Footer. This one was really big for me. I didn't like this default footer, so I actually switched to something like this. You can pick your footer style. Keep in mind when you select something up here, the bottom changes. So just keep that in mind. My footer has 4 boxes on it. I just want to show you, where do I put all that? I don't see that here. If I hit save, what you're going to do is refreshing the page so we can see the footer. And of course, there's nothing. We're not going to customize that right now, so I'm going to pick a different option. Let's go with this one. Nothing down here, right? But import export. I'm coming back to it, I promise. Import export. This is going to import theme settings. So don't think this is going to import your listing stuff. They recommend WP all import when you're if you just want to import a bunch of listings into this, because we don't just want to start with 6, right? We want to start with a bunch of listings. So you can import listings from Yelp, Yellow Pages, Code Genie, things like that. So just make it easy. But let's talk about those appearance widgets. Let's talk about that footer. Widgets are what you're using, like the default sidebar. Whenever you see search, recent posts, recent comments, like on that blog page, this is where it's coming in from. I'm sure, again, I'm not going to explain a bunch of how WordPress works, but simply drag something from your list over here into here, or drag it off, right? We all know that. Well, ListingPro comes with a bunch of things like listing recent posts. I'll throw that over here, and then it also gives me, you know, some things that I can kind of switch this thing up on. No thumbnail. I want the thumbnail. Do I just want to show coffee categories? Sure. How many posts did I want to show? And you can go into that. But more importantly, what we're going to do is mess with this footer. So just for testing, I'm just going to throw text in 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, you can throw anything in here, but I'm more common to do titles and text. Footer, spot 1. And then some text here, some text there, and whether they're links or something like that nature. Let's just take a look. Save. And again, you can go in depth. You can put text here, you can put images here, you can do anything you want. But just to recap, my 4-page footer should now have those 4 spots. And of course, the only link is this one here. So you've got those spots that you're talking about. You can also change the background color. Back on those theme settings, it offered you to change the top or the bottom background color. We also can change this. And we can just kind of customize things the way we want them. What else can we go over? That was all the theme options, kind of showing you just kind of what you can do. We definitely want to go over listings, but just to cover the theme options, that pretty much sums it up. Customize, I don't think we're going to use header. Elementor, that's a good one to go into. I tell you what, let's leave it at the theme options for now. We'll tighten up this video here and then come back and go over Elementor and this crazy looking homepage. Matter of fact, let me real quick. So before, I'm gonna look at the page. I can always tell what page I'm on. Another thing is, if you're new to WordPress, again, I'm not gonna go over how to add a menu structure, but it's right here, appearance menu. Well, maybe I am gonna go over how to add a menu structure. So I noticed that they suggested was the homepage menu, and they have inner pages menu, but they never really selected it to anything. So what I mean by that is, let's go back to the homepage menu, click select. And again, if I wanted something else here, I could view, I have to have the existing items, so I have pages. If I click view all, I can see all of my pages. If I click post, I can see all of my posts, and the same thing. So if I have that page available, let's say view all, I have the home page available. I click on the home, I click add to menu, and I will add the home page, or I can reorder it and put it at the end. But wherever I want to put that, more importantly, the home page will not show up until I assign it to a menu. So assign it to homepage menu. Now, if I wanted to create a new menu, I could do that. You know, I could create a new menu, I could call it whatever I want, assign whatever I want, and assign it to the footer menu if I had a footer menu spot. So we've saved that menu. Let's just go back to the homepage and refresh. And now I have that menu, but I'm not happy with the way, remember in the header, we selected the option to, what was that option called? Let's just go back. Floating header. Whoops, not here. Header laid out, fixed header. So I'm going to take that off for now, because as you look, when I scroll down, I can't see it on the white because my items are white. So bam, it's gone. So now if I refresh the page without my floating header no longer comes with me, which I'm kind of liking that better. I'd probably just, you know, switch, maybe do something, maybe make these in, you know, pink. That way I can see it everywhere on my site. Not, please, I wouldn't do that with pink. But perfect. So now we've got the menu that we're looking for, footer menu as well if we need it. And then we're all set up. But more importantly, I want to show you how this page is built. So pages, those of you who have already used WordPress, it's going to be super easy for you. You can always edit a page. I can always view a page. Matter of fact, I see a bunch of sample pages back here that I don't really need. I don't need 2 privacy policy and 2 payment fails. So I'm going to figure out which one looks best and just use that one, or the one that's already been selecting in the theme options. Like under payment, I'm sure we'll find a payment checkout page. So I don't want to delete the wrong one. One of these dashboards probably doesn't work. So I'll view both. I lie, they both work. But one is listing author in the title, one is listing author 2. So the second one that I clicked on, I probably don't need, because I don't want that. I don't want to have to go in there and change the slug. I just like the way the first one looks, listing author, right? Just removing the pages that you don't need is going to clean up your site a little bit as well. But more importantly, what I was talking about was that home page. Not going to get into Elementor, but I do want to show you that we did choose Elementor, and to edit this page, I could either, why did I click off that dashboard? Pages. Go into the home page, which is here, and instead of clicking edit, I would edit with Elementor. If I just click on edit, I'm going to open that up in a new tab, close these two, and it pulls up the default WordPress editor, which I'm imagining isn't going to show me much. So as you can see, I can change the, if it's viewable, I can change the permalink. I see it's just called home. Nobody sees that on the front end, we're just seeing that on the back end. It doesn't show me much, but I can edit with Elementor, or more importantly, like I showed you, I just like to hover over it and edit with Elementor. Elementor's got a totally separate video, but I am going to show you just some basic stuff that you've got here. The top was the menu. That's not editable. The banner was editable. I showed you that. What is editable is this stuff here. As I start highlighting in, I notice that I can right-click on either this or this, edit heading, and it pulls up all this wonderful Elementor stuff. So happening cities in his H2 tags, I kind of like that. Elementor allows you to do a bunch of things which I'm not going to get in depth with, but you can change the style, the typography, and things of that nature. For me, more importantly, if I click on this, I can add different stuff to this. So let's say, I didn't want this here. I might right click, delete. I don't want this claim listing here, right click, delete. But what I do want is I want to add, let's find some Elementor stuff or ListingPro stuff. Listing post. And maybe this isn't the exact one I want. Not really, but you can see that. Now you can edit this page. Matter of fact, I don't want this here. I want to move this. Nice, I can't. I want to move this above this. So now I have happening cities. I would change that to popular spots with my capital P. And of course I could change all this up, do exactly what you need in there. Whoops. For the listing, I don't want to use list view, I want to use grid view. Grid view I can change to grid style 5, 1, 2, 3, or 4. 5 doesn't do much for me. Grid style 2. Oh, a little bit longer. How many posts do I want? 9 posts. It's only going to show the maximum posts that I have, but you get the gist, right? Perfect. So now you can add and remove some features as wanted. You can also take this, maybe you like that, but you wanted it in here. Now you've got that. But you need a spacer, so we won't go into this, but we would add a spacer in between those two because it is looking kind of crazy. And of course the spacer didn't go in between the two, so we'll move that up here. And yeah, we're just picking and choosing. So always remember to update. Have a great day. That's going to conclude our WordPress 2.5 ListingPro features. We only went over the theme settings, installing, kind of getting you started. We're going to cover a lot more. So stay tuned, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll be back with you with part 2.